So we've been crawling around the jungle for ages. We've picked up a lot of stuff, so obviously I had to do some shopping. Our new build is a pretty good all-rounder. It's got a little bit of everything. We've got buffs on basically everything. We're not bad at anything. Let's go find out what the hell's going on in here. So yeah, he's not kidding. This, like, he sets this up instantly. Also, like, you'd think he would have something to say, but no. This guy really is all business. So I guess we'd call this a haunted house?
Yeah, something along those lines.
For want of any other real descriptors. It's about what you'd expect. It's dark. There's, like, very indistinct lighting. There's confusion. There's pumpkins. There's jump scares. And there are other pumpkins. These are the exact same jack-on-fires from the Haunted Forest. So, I really hope you know how to deal with them, because this can get rough if you don't. Please watch out for that self-destruct. I don't know if you're paying hawk-like attention to Apollo and Jern's health bars, but that thing almost took both of them out.
I saw that, and I have to say that even if it isn't, you know, he's doing his best, but I do have to admit that it does bring me an not insignificant amount of joy to watch Apollo just melt because a pumpkin decided to ruin his day.
See, I knew you'd come around on this whole business. Anyway, yeah, it's possible to get better about mitigating that stuff, but there are also other things you can do. Inflicting chill on them is a pretty good shout. Because, you know, they can't hit you with the irritating self-destruct if they can't actually reach you. I made that bit look quite easy, but it turns out there's actually a whole little invisible maze in there full of those jump scare things if you walk through the wrong doors, and I just happened to walk through the correct path on literally the second take. I'm sorry, I feel like I accidentally ruined the attraction with luck. Anyway, 3 of these guys at once is not a joke. I have game overed in this room before.
Wow. This is a Nightmare Before Christmas reference. Great. Love it.
Wish Emily could have seen this. Or maybe I don't. Anyway, you didn't think the 10 or so that spawned in at the beginning were going to be the end of it, did you? So yeah, this is a gimmick fight. These enemies, by the way, are pretty much exactly like the bugs from Bergen Village, except they're fire elemental, so you want to shoot them with ice stuff. Fortunately, Snowflake is really good at hitting a whole lot of them. And it turns out that inflicting chill on them makes their whole thing where they skitter around the screen a lot more manageable, because it turns out that slowing enemies down is just a really useful thing to do. By the way, from a purely tactical perspective, I cannot in good conscience endorse getting hit by those flames, because they hurt. They hurt and they set you on fire. Well, okay then.
Solved. It turns out it was just a ghost that wanted your attention. As if that explains everything.
Just wanted to do one last haunting. Does drop a pretty decent piece of equipment though. This thing, Lucky Lucky, is the buff that increases your chances to find items from enemies. Also, it's got flash step and it's got focus. Lot to love, really. Also, yeah, for some reason, this quest in particular spawns a teleporter right back to that cave with the tower defense stuff. You know, in case you ever wanted to go back there for additional reasons.
But Fidul, why would you ever want to go back to the tower defense cave?
That is an excellent question, whose answer I will leave you to ponder.
The answer is, of course, that you would not, in fact, ever want to go back, so they had to make up a reason for you to have to.
I mean, my actual point here is that none of the other places with this stuff in them give you this kind of thing. Like, then again, a lot of that is also in towns, like in Bergen there's the bug explosions in the mine, that's just in a building in town. In Bakikum, I guess there's the distillery, that's also just in a building in town, so maybe it's just a way of having this thing once again just be a building in town. Anyway, you might recall the local capitalist association wanted us to go and retrieve some stolen freezers. So we're doing that. This cave, by the way, was right outside the entrance to the haunted forest.
I was gonna say, are we attempting to defeat the cats with the power of air conditioning?
No, the cats are just here. I don't know why the cats are here. The cats being here is a whole thing, incidentally, it's just not directly related to the freezers. Anyway, this is a whole thing. We can break or fix the freezers, and doing so changes the state of ice stuff in the area. And I am not going to equip the Ice Walkers for a 5th, 6th time. I'm not gonna. I'm better than this.
Are you, though?
I'm better than this. Better than this. So, there's a lot going on here.
That is a tropical snowman.
That is a tropical snowman. So glad you've noticed.
I appreciate the banana for a nose. That's a cute touch.
Also, there are cats here. Also, once again, I have fired a flare burn directly into a fucking wall Also, the cats and the tropical snowman are fighting. Which is not, I believe, a thing that we really see anywhere else in the game, is enemy factions fighting each other. But all the same, here it is. As you can probably imagine, the cats are also quite effective against the snowmen on account of, the cats have that whole static death trap thing going on. And the snowmen are nothing if not stationary enemies. So these fights can be pretty entertaining. Then there's this room. This room kind of a little bit sucks.
Well, that went well.
Like, fucking owned, frankly. There is a pretty straightforward thing that you're supposed to do here, although you'd be forgiven for not immediately noticing it. But you can kind of extrapolate out from like, hang on a minute, why is there a whole area cordoned off by this orange fence that doesn't block bullets? Oh, maybe I'm supposed to shoot through it. Hang on a minute, there's a freezer in there. So that puts up all the barriers, and suddenly this becomes possible. There's still this last jump that you have to do though. It's still kind of a fucker to have to do quickly and under pressure and without being shot. But we persisted. Also, that jump right there, curiously difficult. Doesn't seem like it should be difficult. And yet, on other takes of this, I've needed 5 attempts to make that jump. Don't understand it at all. So as you can imagine, these guys like the freezers. They're snowmen, they like cold. Their shots will turn the freezers back on if you turn them off, and the ice blasts coming off of the freezers will heal them, a lot. So keep on top of all that stuff. There is a cat murdering the shit out of these guys, by the way.
I was gonna say, that was some pretty good tactical cat usage.
Yeah. So yeah, them healing is pretty irritating. You generally don't want them doing that. But also they can get distracted by you breaking the freezers, so, maybe this isn't so bad. Honestly, other than the whole freezer thing and the whole tropical getup, the snowmen are pretty much identical to the Bergen Trail flavour. There's not really a whole lot to these guys. There is some fascinating lore though. It'll come up in the stuff when the thread gets to it. Anyway, we're done here. For now.
It was nice of them to be like, no, you actually can't do this, please just leave.
I don't think this should have been instanced, it's not that much of a puzzle place. Could have been fine. Relatedly, you might have noticed that Apollo and Jern don't really have a lot to say about side quests. It's one of the few places where the game kind of cheats out, really. Like, Emily and Tronny have a, like, they'll usually chime in a good few times during most quests, but these two basically only pipe up at all when you go into an instance. And that's just a generic thing that every party member can do.
You know, they're going on about how this snowman is a criminal, and how he has taken these freezers, but you know what? He's just trying to survive. It's a fucking jungle out there. It's hot, and he's a snowman.
You know, it's funny you bring that up, because canonically, these guys did all migrate here from Bergen Trail. And, like, they evolved sentience or some bullshit, and they were like, man, we need to cool this thing down. But they clearly didn't evolve enough sentience to realize that their plan was kind of nonsensical.
Ah, so now we're gonna union bust.
So yeah, remember when the game was like, yeah, don't sweat this. You can just walk up to the temples and just go there. The game might have lied a little bit. So yeah, despite everything, we now have to go and talk to the mayor. And it looks like we're not the only one. You'd think more of those guys would have something to say, but... well. So, Mayor seems nice. Good, reasonable man. Conscientious, eyes on the results. Knows what the deal is. Above all else, reasonable. Now remember when Apollo's commentating and all this, that this is the guy who literally staked out in a tree for a straight week, waiting for us. Just like, always keep that in mind when he talks about anything. Context. Context is important.
I mean, broken clocks are right twice a day.
So yeah, the game tries to get all cute about the scripting still working if you've and realizing that you've been to this landmark already. At this point, even I've lost track of the number of layers of irony that we're on about Leah not being able to talk. I think there's like... I think this is the 7th one? Like, that's including the whole thing with the quest with the birds having dialogue options. That's in the old taxonomy as well. So the game makes this whole thing about it being optional to fight the cats. But not only does the game also make a big deal about why you should, but also the cats just aggro on you.
Disappointing.
It is pretty notable that they do that. Like, the game also makes a big deal of the fact that most enemies don't aggro on you, and in fact the other cats all don't aggro on you, but these ones do, and that's, like, kind of weird, right? So it's a whole thing. Anyway, the Wickats are pretty similar to the Shockats. They don't do the static thing, but otherwise they behave basically identically. Also, they're beefier and they do more damage and they take longer to kill and etc, etc. You know the deal. Also, don't stay so on mission that you don't notice the opportunities to get more chests here. Above all else, never forget what game we're playing. Also, I believe I mentioned earlier about the cats all make cat sounds. They also spit at you when you start combat. So I guess that's also nice.
That also tracks.
I feel like there should have been a way for you to get back up here. There isn't. Also, I feel like there absolutely should have been some kind of purpose to jumping on those lily pads. Oh well. So yeah, the game's not even particularly ambiguous about, like, taking out the Wickats is the correct thing to do. Anyway, here the game gives you, like, actual directions to follow, sort of. Rather than just giving you a landmark and letting you teleport there, but it's not that difficult. I question this whole mechanism. Ah well. It's just video games, right?
source of cats, you say?
What do you mean this time? I cannot stress enough how much sense it doesn't make to try and not take out any of the cats. Like, you are all but forced into it. Also, what? Are you guys okay? No? We're good? Okay, sure. Like, I would have jumped down there myself, but there was a chest and, come on. Some of us have our priorities in order.
Not in order enough to leave the cats alone.
No. No one's that in order, but come on, the whole political situation in the village hinges on this. We've got to take out the cats.
It sounds like the Shad just need to adopt a bunch of cats.
I mean, I get the sense they'd have been fine with it if it wasn't for the whole, violence and death thing. That seems like a bit of a deal breaker. And I know cats are all about violence and death at the best of times, but this just seems a bit much. Anyway, there's a tiny navigational puzzle to do here, but yeah, it doesn't really register after everything we've been through at this point. Anyway, I guess you can run through all of these areas without actually finishing any of the combat. But, I'm just not sure what the point is. Maybe the game even acknowledges it, but, I don't see how it can possibly help anyone. So, here's whatever the hell this is.
So we're... okay. So we're fighting an obelisk that summons cats.
It summons cats to defend itself, and becomes vulnerable when you take the cats out. This makes sense somehow. Just roll with this.
It's a powerful cat-based defense system.
I mean, can you imagine cats defending something else?
I mean, my microphone needs a cat-based defense system right now because mine has woken up.
But that's the cat trying to take out the microphone. That's like the defense system for the microphone against the cats. But can you imagine the cat protecting the microphone from literally anything else? Maybe if it thought it could keep it all to itself, that might be a small motivation. But it's just not how they roll. It's not how this works. It's not how any of this works. Cats defending things, come on. My immersion ruined.
I cannot believe you are pulling a Trani over this.
I don't know how to tell you this, Apollo, but your input is never needed. Just learn to live with it, okay? Now, can you remember the path to get up onto the bridge that leads west out of here? Can you, huh? Do you know where to go on this screen?
I'm sensing some projection here.
Where is it? Where is the way west? Where is the path that leads there? No, it's not this one. That leads up to the north. Oh, it's one of these. Okay, fine, it's this. Gotta go up that way. I don't know what it is about this screen in particular that's so difficult for me to remember. Like, I have a pretty broad policy of not including a lot of footage of me being lost, but this one felt appropriate. Well, this all seems kind of tense, but I guess we can do the dungeons now.
Apollo, those were cats. They're not black monsters.
This has been a weird day.
That sounds like an understatement.